Super Mario Bros. Has been around for over 35 years, soon to be 40. That's a long time. Mario has been through a lot and been a major part of the gaming industry. He's been in game after game after game, but sometimes it's good to look back at your roots. In fact, I think we should do that today. Today we are celebrating Mario Month for the month of October to celebrate Super Mario Wonder coming out soon. And what better way to celebrate the Mario series than to take a look at where it all began. Talking about the game, playing the game, and beating it for the first time. And what game would that be? Technically where it all began, but no, not this one. This is Donkey Kong, the game that technically started it all. It was originally going to be a Popeye game, but they lost the rights, so instead, they made Mario, Pauline, and Donkey Kong. While the game is influential, it's not the game I'm talking about today. Besides, I can't survive this game more than 30 seconds. That's right, we're going to be talking about Super Mario Bros. On the NES. When the Nintendo Entertainment System launched on October 5th, 1985, 38 years ago, time's a ticking clock! It came with 3 things: a weird robot and 2 games, Duck Hunt and Super Mario Bros. The latter was a game about an Italian plumber in the Mushroom Kingdom, rescuing Princess Peach from Bowser. Well, sort of. A lot of stuff was more simplistic back then, and character names have changed and evolved over the years. One thing that hasn't changed is how Super Mario Bros. Really impacted the gaming industry, and Nintendo itself. It essentially is Nintendo's first game, along with a game about shooting ducks. But we're talking about Super Mario Bros. I don't want to be laughed at by a dog. I swear to God, I will shoot you in the face! This was Mario's true debut to the home console. Many people played this game for years, adoring it as the very first 2D Mario. Except for me. I know what you're thinking. You didn't play a close to 40-year-old game? You aren't a real gamer! Yeah, I never really played this because it was before my time. It came out before I was born. My first console was the Nintendo 64, and I never even got a chance to play the NES games until I got access to the Virtual Console. And every time I thought about playing it, I would play it for like a few minutes and then just stop. But I've always wanted to beat the game and see what all the fun was about. So let's not waste any time. Here's my experience beating Super Mario Bros. In 2023. A little bit late. One thing I never knew about these games was that they had no title screen music. Yeah, that's weird to think this day and age, but the game just has the screen, no sound whatsoever. Again, it's the NES, so I shouldn't be surprised, and the screen does show everything it needs to. The art of the game, what button to press start, the basics, really. But I don't know, you could have put something on there. Okay, not anything on there. And you start the game, you just get right into it. No story, no cutscenes. This is a game in the 80s, you just play, baby. You jump as Mario, jumping, jumperoo on Goombas, which are chestnuts. Did you know that? Jumping over pipes and crushing your head on blocks to get items. You go right until you can't go right no more, avoiding obstacles until you reach the flagpole and get into the castle. Boom, you win the level. You find items like the mushroom, which makes you bigger and gives you an extra hit point, a fire flower, which gives you attack power, and a star, where you run as fast as you can with multicolored lights and beat everything in your path. Yeah, you all know this. Everyone knows this. Even if you never played a Mario game in your life, you know a lot of the lore and the rules of Mario. But still, it's very interesting to see where this all came from. It's very easy to forget that Miyamoto just decided that, yep, this is what's happening in Mario. If you think about it, a princess being rescued by an Italian guy, getting bigger by eating mushrooms, shooting flame projectiles by touching the local flora and fauna, hitting bricks with their cranium, and going into pipes to find secrets. It's all strange when you say it out loud. I really don't know how he thought of all this. Maybe Mario wasn't the only one who ate some mushrooms. But regardless, this became the common knowledge of the Mushroom Kingdom. And it works! See, kids? Mario eats his vegetables and gets big and strong. Mushrooms are a vegetable, right? Also, the level design in this game, Kind of genius. I am not kidding. The level design, especially for the first world, is one of the best examples of a tutorial in gaming. I'm dead serious. It encourages you to experiment. It's mostly beginner friendly, and it teaches you how to play the game without a single line of dialogue. There's no press A button to jump and hit blocks to get items. No, it's all show, don't tell, and I love it. You learn the game through trial and error, which feels natural and fun, and gets right to the point. Very refreshing after modern games full of very annoying, ginormous speeches telling you the same controls over and over again. How many times can you tell us to press A to jump? You get the gist of things just by doing it, as you should in a game like this. I know they couldn't do a lot of the stuff that they do in modern games because, you know, the NES has limits, but they worked with what they had, and it works. But the first level was pretty easy, and it wasn't long until I beat that level, and made my way to the next, after quite a few deaths along the way. Hey, you could still die if you don't know what you're doing. Mario is a bit of a slippery guy, probably all the time he's in the sewers, and it can really cause him to slip and fall into the pits of despair. But in World 2, you go underground. Again, a lot of people know this, but World 1-2 takes place underground. Everything's darker, enemies look different in the lighting. You see more Koopas, and if you get a mushroom, there are bricks you can break to get to the ceiling. It's an immediate contrast and a fun idea. And it makes sense. A plumber would go in the pipes to deal with the sewers. It also shows Koopas and a unique way to deal with them, as if you defeat them, you can hit their shell to deal with other enemies and obstacles to get more coins. It's the start of some hidden secrets or different way to play and get rid of enemies. Something Mario would be known for. Moving on to World 1-3, it's a lot like World 1-1, but slightly more enemies and tougher jumps. I died a lot, and in the original game, when you die, you go to the beginning of the game. The downside of NES games, they can be very unforgiving when it comes to progress. It makes sense, this was the era of arcades and paying for games with quarters. Not to mention you relied on passwords to save your progress more than anything, if that was an option at all. I'd be lying that while I did try to start from the beginning at first, I wanted to get this done in one stream and I just used rewind and restore points. Ah, the wonders of modern technology. Good thing I paid $20 a year to do this. Don't let anyone tell you that you can or can't use restore points. You're playing the game here, not anyone else. You decide how you want to play it and enjoy it. Time is short. There's not too much different from that other than like the mushroom platforms here and, you know, just being careful. And before you know it, you make your way to World 4. A fiery castle filled with death around every corner, flame obstacles, elite enemies, and Bowser, king of the Koopas, guarding the princess. Ah! I love the design of this area. It shows that you are near the end and that danger has increased. You will die a lot more, especially when you encounter King Koopa, which, fun fact, I didn't know he mirrored you and jumped when you jumped. I also didn't know you can kill him with fire flowers. I thought you just had to run past him at the right time and touch the axe. You could do both. Either way, you make it to the end to rescue Toad. Yep, no princess quite yet, as this is where you hear one of gaming's most infamous phrases. Thank you, Mario, but your princess is in another castle. But that makes sense. This is only the first level, technically, or first group of levels. How many levels are in this game now? 8?
8 times?
You have to go through 4 different levels 8 different times, while encountering a Toad at the end of every single one except for the final one. My god, that must have been annoying back in the days before a walkthrough. Plus the amount of time it would take to originally complete every single level, that would be a lot. It was a long play that I wanted to try. I wanted to quit after World 3. Yeah, the levels had some nice varieties. I even discovered that World 3 had some night levels. Something I never knew about the original Super Mario Bros. But I'd be lying if I wasn't dying a lot and starting to get a little frustrated. And thank God I got restore points. I can't imagine spending hours upon hours of getting near the end, only to touch a Koopa to be sent to the beginning of the game. Those who played this back in the day, you got a lot of guts, I'll admit it. Speaking of enemies though, It's really cool to see how a lot of these enemies got their start. Seeing their designs compared to how they look modern day, seeing how some will patrol mindlessly while others will mirror your movements. It's all so interesting to see how they got their start. A lot of the music motifs that would go on to future installments started here. There's the overworld theme, the underground theme, the underwater theme, and even Bowser's Castle. These were all the starts of the classic musical tunes we all know and love, created by Koji Kondo, and that would be used and remixed for decades to come. They are magnificent songs that will continue to get stuck in your head and that have aged like fine wine. For a bunch of chiptunes, they still are really catchy. But while playing this game, I was having a bit of a problem. I wasn't having any fun. Again, near the end of the third world, I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. I was just getting frustrated and impatient, and was honestly confused. This is the game everyone fell in love with? The game that started the legacy of Nintendo? Am I missing something here? Is this game not as good as I thought it was going to be? Am I not a fan of Mario? Mario was a waste of time. I was about to give up and maybe move on to Mario All-Stars or Mario World. And then that's when a friend came to save the day. My good friend Mantelferox jumped into chat, and I told them I was basically doing a long play of the game without knowing it was a long play. To which they replied the following.
Random, I love you, buddy, but that was a stupid idea. Mario's great, and I'm proud of you for jumping into my first NES game from back in the day. But for your playstyle, long play is not the way to go for a first playthrough.
Yeah, that was a mistake. So during the stream, Mantle was kind enough to guide me through a different way of beating the game. With Switch Online, you can have a second player join you, and they were the guiding hand that helped me get through each level. They could even do a cute applause thing too. But with their Player 2 Master Hand, they were able to gently nudge me into the right direction. A different way a lot of people were more familiar with than I was. I played as normal until I got to World 1-2, then made sure I reached the highest point near the end. Then it took me to a series of warp pipes, and I went down level 4. I continued on to level 4-2, hit a very specific block, then a beanstalk would pop out. Very weird, but I went with it. That would take me up to the surface with more warp pipes that would take me to level 8. And then it would take me to the final levels of the game, and I could finally beat it. Now you may think, random, you just rushed through a lot of the game. You barely enjoyed it. I say au contraire. Because honestly, when I found these secrets, that was fun for me. Yeah, you could go through the challenge of each and every level, but for me, that wasn't enjoyable at all. You know what was fun? Going through a random pipe to find a bunch of coins, hitting a surprise block to find a power-up, using a bunch of weird secrets to advance in the level that I was struggling with before. That was fun. That left me in awe, wanting to find more and more secrets of the game. And that is when I realized why Super Mario Bros. Was so revolutionary. It was a great game, sure, with a lot of good things going for it already. Yes, difficult, but still good. But the fact that it was littered with secrets for you to experience not only raised replayability, but also helped you if you were struggling with the game. I imagine in the age before the internet, finding out about this stuff was pretty big, and being the one to find these secret paths was a game changer. Even if you found out about it through a Nintendo Power magazine. Yeah, now you're playing with power. It made you want to see what secrets were hidden. Made you want to see how finely crafted this game was. And I adore it. It was my favorite part of experiencing the game, especially since I could beat the game no problem with the final level, and easily take these shortcuts to get back if I needed to. Well, almost a problem. It's the final level, so of course it's going to be hard. It has harder obstacles, tighter jumps, even recolored enemies. With some cool designs, I'll admit. The last Bowser's Castle even has this interesting section where you have to go to the right pipe to progress. It's cool. A bit frustrating if you don't know where to go, but thankfully I had a floating hand to help me out. So heck yeah. And with that, I made my way to Bowser, slid under him like I was a rock star, forced him to face his final death for sure, and rescued the princess and got my reward of playing the game again. I mean, it's an NES game. What did you expect? You got lucky if you got an ending screen. But in the end, I beat Super Mario Bros. For the first time. I completed a benchmark of gaming. And you know what? I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected. It was challenging for sure. I mean, what game from the 80s isn't? But the strength of Super Mario Bros. Is in its innovation, replayability, literally changing game design as we know it, and with its infinite amount of secrets you can play any way you like, whether it's going through the long haul or taking shortcuts. Its music is spectacular, the premise is creative, and overall is such a magnificent game that started it all. It created the franchise we know as the Mario series, and while countless games have changed the concept over the years, it's good to admire the roots of the past, and see how far the series has come. I had a great time playing Super Mario Bros. And again, special thanks to Mantelferox for helping me with the game. For a game that came out over 3 decades ago, it still lives up to its name of being super. It was great playing this game, and seeing the start of what eventually would become Super Mario Wonder. It truly is quite wonderful to see how it transformed throughout the years. Have you played the original Super Mario Bros? What's your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button, and stay tuned for more videos.